So finally, we have come to the question about the conferencing tool. I mean, we talked about the ICT sector in general. We talked about the communications, which devices to use and how the difference there. But of course, we could also select different tools when we have our video conferencing or do the teaching or learning. So there is one source showing a difference here, and they have investigated, as you can see, a large number here of different video conferencing tools. So in this first slide, this is showing the average carbon impact of 1 minute of video conferencing in grams carbon dioxide emissions. And at the top of this list with the least CO2 emissions, we have Soho, Teams, Whereby, and Zoom. So I don't know if all of these are well known to you. Probably the most well known are Teams and Zoom and perhaps Google Meet and GoToMeeting. Some of you may know WebEx as well. So it's about a factor of 2 between the ones with the lowest CO2 emissions and GoToMeeting, which is a bit worse than any of the others in this representation. So this was average carbon impact of 1 minute of video conferencing. The same source also gives the presentation in another present the data in another way. So here we see the average energy consumption of 1 minute of video conferencing. And now you can see that each bar has three different colors. So the greenish purple here, or the greenish is only audio. So 1 minute of audio corresponds to this amount of milliampere hours. And then if you run audio plus video, then you add this part, or this 1 minute of audio plus video represents this part. And then if you have audio and screen sharing, like I have now, I'm just sharing my screen with you, but you don't see my video, at least not my full video. So then that represents a red part here. And if we compare the different tools or platforms, we can see that Teams, Zoho, Zoom, and Google Meet are the top of the list. And in this case, the Zoom is at the bottom of the list. And then just one third representation here. So average energy consumption of 1 minute of video conferencing in milliampere hours on a computer. So if this was on a mobile phone, now this is on a PC. So there is a difference in the total here. This goes to 30 in the scale, and this goes to 70. So the PC requires more energy, higher number of milliampere hours. And again, we can see that the audio is generally the shortest section of the 3 sections here, and audio plus video is in this case about as long as audio plus screen sharing, which is a difference from when we did the same on the phone, because then audio plus video was a lot larger than audio plus screen sharing. So and if we look at which programs are at the top, we have Zoho, BlueJeans, Teams, and Zoom are up here, and GoToMeeting at the bottom. So GoToMeeting is at the bottom in 2 of the 3 cases, and Zoho, Teams, and Zoom are well placed at the top of this list in all of the 3 cases, independently of which tool we use and how we do the calculation. So as a conclusion then, the difference between the platforms is noticeable, but it's, I would say, not dramatic. And in these 3 cases, Zoho, Teams, and Zoom has the lowest impact or energy use, and GoToMeeting has its highest in 2 out of 3 cases, and then the other ones are somewhere in between. So do you have any comments or questions to it? A lot of information to take in, I guess, but something which surprised you or which you did not catch totally. No questions? Well, in that case, let's move on. We can have some discussion at the end if you like. So we looked at the conferencing tools, and we're coming close to the general conclusions here. So, I mean, a general conclusion in total, I would say, is that compared to many other activities we do, the impact of the use of ICT is relatively small. We cannot compare it to taking the car downtown or going on a holiday by train or something like that. So we should be aware of the difference in scale here between using our phones or PCs and doing other activities. We also noticed that the data traffic has increased exponentially, but the energy use is quite stable. It increases a lot, does not increase a lot. And at least some predictions state that it may decrease in the future even. And the large increase in traffic is mainly due to increase in video traffic. And for phones and PCs, the embodied greenhouse gas emissions may be larger than those of from usage. It could be more or less similar. And the conclusion from that is, of course, that we should handle them carefully and use them for a long period of time. But because, as we discussed before, if you use them short period of time and then scrap them, then the effect on the greenhouse gas contribution from the related to the tool, the device itself, becomes higher. And if we still, I mean, I said here that compared to many other device activities we do, the impact of the use of ICT is relatively small. But if you want to decrease the impact of using these devices, we could follow the following advices, and we should of course switch off or use sleep mode when we're not using the tools, or I guess most of us would switch off the television set when we go to bed. Nowadays it's quite common to leave the lights on in the house when we're home, but if we go back 50 years, it was mandatory to switch off the light as soon as you left the room, which is not common anymore. So there is something we can do here to make sure that we switch off or put in sleep mode when we're not using the devices. When we go flying, we know that to get the battery to last long, we decrease the brightness of the screen. And of course, this indicates that the energy use is decreasing when we adjust the brightness or decrease the brightness of the screen. So this is another way to decrease energy use if we want to do that. And we could also adjust the resolution of the video. We saw the difference in one of the slides here between high resolution video and standard resolution video, and how much energy that, or carbon dioxide emissions, that corresponds to. And we could also turn off the video when not needed. So I could have asked you all to have your cameras on all the time, but I mean, in this case, I didn't think it was necessary, so I thought it was better that you turned your videos off. of course, when you buy new products, that's a very important moment, because you should then consider any energy labeling. Within the EU, there is always an energy labeling. And in the US, they have the Energy Star labeling. So most devices are marked and have points or ratings related to some of these rating systems. And again, use the products as long as possible. And after you don't want it anymore, you need it anymore, consider how it can be reused. Can it be used by someone else, so that someone else doesn't have to buy a new phone or a new PC? Or could the device be recirculated in some way? In some parts of the world, they also even talk about the remanufacturing. So the old computers, for example, they're sent to a company which has made it a business to go through all the details and make sure that the old computer is updated to the most modern standards, or at least that it works as it was when it was new. So that is also a possibility. So this is just more or less what I intended to say. I just wanted to share with you, if you're interested, you could download, I guess there are several tools you can use, but one is called Open Hardware Monitor. And by using these tools, you can see exactly how many watts your computer is using when you do different types of activities. So this was, I think my colleague used this for testing the energy use during watching video on YouTube. And as you can see here, the total energy use is something like 25 watts in this case, video and obviously audio. And then if we was listening to music through Spotify, so no video, then it's about 10 watts compared to 25 watts. So if you're interested, you can easily download one of these tools and look at the energy use of your own computer during different types of activities. And as you realize, I mean, 25 watts is not a lot. The old-fashioned light bulbs were typically 60 watts, so more than twice the amount of the PC while watching a video on YouTube. So just to put things in perspective. But of course, we should try to decrease the energy use in any way we can, but just to know where we should put our efforts. Yes, I think this was the final slide. So thanks for your attention.